I am now 87. It's difficult to recall so many things of that time, but I distinctly recall that Shikarpur was one of the great cities of India. It's at that trade route between India and the countries of Afghanistan and even the countries of Iran and other, particularly through Quetta and Chaman, the city of Zahedan, which was the other outpost outside India. The people of this country, of this city, were people who carried on mainly banking business outside Shikarpur, but in southern India.
Okay.
They're extremely rich people who stayed almost 9 months out of the year outside and then came back to Shikarpur for 3 months to spend their money. It was supposed to be a paradise for eaters, because it provided the best possible food. And I remember that a very famous place in the Shikarpur city, it's called the Lakidar. All kinds of shops and particularly eating places. And there used to be a fellow who used to sell kulfis and ice creams. And I remember, and that chap migrated after partition to Bombay, and he's somewhere here in Bombay making tons of money. And his name used to be Moti's shop. And if you could easily spend about 1 anna on a kulfi, and you didn't have appetite for the rest of the day. It is so rich, and that's how things were cheap. I believe that even in the upper middle class families, the ladies of the house used to receive about 10 rupees a month per head, and the living was so comfortable. Another thing which I recall is that at that time the Indian rupee was divided into 16 annas, and the 16 annas were divided into 4 paisas each, which means 64, and then each paisa was divided into 3 pies. And not only that, every single pie was worth 5 kodis, those shells that you find, at the on the sea beach or wherever. And the kodis were current coin. You could take 5 kodis and buy something out of it. In 1 paisa, you used to get fairly big size bread with liver, with mince, with delicious gravy, chutney and onions. You could make a meal. And the greatest beauty of that city, I remember, was the flowing canal, which we used to call the Sindhwa, in which the water used to start flowing from the Indus River. And for about 3 months, used to be water flowing through that canal. And on both sides of that canal were the bungalows of rich people. Bungalows which contained swimming pools and ponds, and invariably a bullock-driven, well-operated, get plenty of water from the well, which will get into the either the pool or the ponds or the swimming bathing places. And people used to go upstream for about 2 miles, 3 miles, depending on how much water you have, how time you have. And then they will get into the current, coming back down from where they started. And food, mangoes in earthenware pots used to float along with the swimmer, and including, of course, some local wine. And then by evening time, you ended up from where you started, depending on how far you have gone. and then you would get into one of those rich people's bungalows on either side, and you will go down into the well water, and there were niches built there where you could sit, and the food was sent to you in a basket. I have never seen anything of that kind in any part of the world, and I have traveled in the whole world. I mean, I still remember the Sindhwa Shikarpur, which was the greatest luxury that I have enjoyed until the time that I left Sindh.
You were known as something of a child prodigy.
Well, I had promotions and things like that. I was a good student. Let me say that when I was in the third standard English, I got prizes. And, school used to perform in big functions, and other school teachers and principals were invited. And I remember that I was put up on the stage, and they said, "You ask him any questions in Mughal history." And I was supposed to answer these questions in English. And I did such a remarkable job. People threw currency notes, and some rich people threw gold guineas. So I had a lovely time. And my father was a practicing lawyer. My grandfather was a lawyer. My grandfather was the president of the municipality sometimes. So we had a nice, lovely time. And then I passed my LLB at the age of 17. And the rules of the local bar council required that you have to be 21 years of age. So I applied to the Chief Justice that this rule should not apply to me, because when I joined the law college, this rule didn't exist. And so the Chief Justice told the Bar Council to amend their rules and at least make room for some exceptions, so that the rule of 21 became subject to possible exceptions. Then when the LLB result was announced, I had got a first class first in the Bombay University. We had no university of our own. So we were all parts of that sprawling Bombay University, which consisted of the whole of Maharashtra, the whole of Gujarat, part of Karnataka, and the whole of Sindh. So in that sprawling university, I had a first class first. And so the Bar Council was compelled to make an exception in my case, and I started. But they told me to wait for 1 year to become a major. They say your contracts are void. How can you enter into any contract with your client? So I started my practice exactly when I completed my 18th year.